Ladies and gentlemen, here at the Silicon Steve Valli Show, we have just gotten audio of CM Punk's words just before the brawl out happened at last year's All In.
Fucking sneaky bastard. I'm gonna take you to work. I'm gonna nail it to the wall. I'm gonna crush your boils in a meat grinder. I'm gonna cut off your arms. I'm gonna shove them up your asshole. Dirty summon a patch.
Wow. Just fucking wow.
Hi, Spots and Cheap Pops, you're on the air.
Hi, Spots and Cheap Pops presents your Moment in the Valley with me. It's me, SSV, Silicon Steve Valli. And ladies and gentlemen, I pop on here every couple weeks and we start talking about something that not necessarily is happening on-screen stuff. And what I was going to do today was going to focus on Cody Rhodes' journey outside of WWE, where he really crystallized the American Nightmare, what that version of himself was. And we're going to go into that, but we got to say something, be as quickly and as brief as possible, because there's been so many opinions thrown about AEW and the Young Bucks releasing the footage of what seemed to me, and this is actually a very true line that they said, like a high school brawl. You know, you ever fought in high school, like right in the middle of the day, and you pushed a kid, another kid pushed you, maybe one of us gets a punch in, and they won the fight because it was broken up in 10 seconds. And then the one guy who got the one punch in won the fight. That's similar to what we saw right here. So it's such a polarizing thing, and it doesn't need to be, folks. Here's the simple reality. It is not a mutually exclusive fact, meaning if one thing is true, the other one can't be. These are not two mutually exclusive ideas that CM Punk is an egotistical, narcissistic cancer in a locker room when he is disgruntled. I would go so far in this instance, it's like he looked like a bully. I don't think if that's Will Hobbs, he does that. No. I don't think if it's anybody bigger than him, he would have done that. Not anybody, but Jack Perry is small, probably doesn't know how to really fight in his life, was, a famous actor's son. So Punk could be an egotistical cancer in the locker room. He could be a bully. And yes, he did everything he possibly could to get fired from AEW. So if it wasn't going to be Jack Perry, it was going to be something else. He came back and started poking, I call it the rabid ferret that is the AEW brass, particularly the elite, particularly the Young Bucks. So that could be true, folks. And you know what? In my opinion, it is true. So for all of those on Facebook and other members of social media that are saying that I'm a CM Punk homer, or I'm a CM Punk fanboy, I have buried this guy on our show for the better part of 2 years since he had his little temper tantrum stuffing some delicious pastries in his mouth at the All Out press conference. I have been critical of him. In fact, Lottie Dottie and I have almost gotten into actual arguments where we actually pissed at each other because I bashed the guy so much and all he was doing was burying the elite. So that is true in many respects. You can have that opinion. And you can also think that the way Tony Khan and the Young Bucks have done business since this happened has been an absolute abhorrent disgrace. And quite frankly, such an indictable offense that EVP should be nowhere near the Young Bucks title. Nowhere near it. They thought this was going to be a good idea. The worst part about this, they could have achieved the same exact thing in terms of fighting with FTR. They could achieve the same exact thing without showing that stupid coverage. Was CM Punk 100% clear and crystal and accurate on what he said? No. He made it sound like he was being the professional. He made it sound like he even said this, I thought I was doing the responsible thing. No, you didn't. You're so full of shit, okay? He didn't think he was doing the responsible thing. He begged Tony to let him go. Bye, let me go. No, we're going to do AEW Collision, and you're going to run it, and you're going to be a big part of that show. It's not going to work. Let me go. Pleading with Tony Khan to let him go back because he went back and kissed Triple H's ring back in April last year. If anyone doesn't remember, I'm telling you, that's exactly what he did. WWE Raw was in Chicago. CM Punk went back there to make sure he had an in back. He didn't say anything that would get him sued or WWE sued, But he wanted to make sure things were smoothed out with certain people so he can hustle back to WWE the second he gets fired, which was going to be his goal when he came back, period. So if it wasn't going to be Jack Perry, it was going to be something else. Mark my words. He saw Survivor Series was in Chicago. He's a smart guy. There's a couple other things that was bullshit, which we already talked about on an old podcast I did with Vladi Dottie earlier in the week. But now that we've seen this footage, I get what they tried to do. I do get it. And you know what? Jack Perry never sold this many t-shirts in his whole fucking life, and quite frankly, will probably never do again. That's a business win. They popped a rating. They got over 800,000 in a few weeks. If that's your goalpost, and if that's what that did, it was not worth it, and it backfired. I saw so many people saying, people in WWE's bubble said it would backfire. No.
Backfired. You don't want people chanting the name of someone from another promotion during your show. Sometimes it's going to happen, and you just can't avoid it, but this one was one that you brought on yourself.
Dave Meltzer saying it backfired. Wrestle Talk, who are the most unbiased cats on the planet, nicest guys in the world too. They even said it was horrible. Ollie Davis said,
by far the worst episode of AEW I've ever seen. Damaging, petty, backfiring. 20%.
So that's what we need to understand. Just because CM Punk was a dick, what he said was kind of accurate. He made himself look a lot better and a lot more mature in the situation than he was. No, he was being a scumbag and he wanted out of his contract. Period. And when CM Punk is disgruntled, there is nobody worse to work with or work for by every metric that a fair mind would have. It's not like CM Punk never had a problem with the company before, right? But now let's focus on the Bucks. I know what they were trying to do. They're trying to interweave reality with a work with FTR. I get it. And the second time I watched it, once I realized exactly what they were doing, I was like, they could have achieved this without showing that stupid footage, because whether it was right or wrong, perception is reality, and you had CM Punk's name being chanted throughout that episode. So Matthew and Nick Jackson at this point in time, Massey, really, huh? Those guys and Tony Khan should not be anywhere near a leadership role at this point in time. Did they clear this stuff with Edge? Did they clear it with Bryan Danielson? Did they clear it with Moxley? Did they clear it with Jim Ross? Did they clear it with Shivani? Did they go to anybody who has a brain in their fucking head? Did they ask anybody outside of their petty little bullshit circle of friends? Did these two jerk-offs, these two guys, the Bucks, did they not even clear it with anybody and think this was still a good idea? What buffoon thought this was a good idea in today's day and age on social media? It worked short term. I'm glad it worked short term. But if you don't hit 800,000 the next several weeks, it was a boner move. And I'm predicting if you don't change and you don't turn the page quickly, they're going to be under 700,000 soon. Because you cannot put stuff like that on your television show. Bucks, if you have a point to make, be a normal fucking human being and go talk to whoever you want to talk to and then spill your side of the story the same way as Punk. And then you're not wasting somebody's time who is, quite frankly, I'm fucking tired of talking about CM Punk and AEW. Can we all just fucking move on now? And I know why we won't. CM Punk is polarizing. He gets the most reaction of any current professional wrestler. Still, hell, he hasn't been in a company in 8 months, and they're still chanting his name. And this is one that you brought on yourself. Meltzer, who I don't always agree with, Meltzer was right there. You brought it on yourself. You brought CM Punk trending on during your show, trending because you did what you did. If you wanted to get out the point that CM Punk is a jerk-off, well, folks, he is a jerk-off. And he wanted out for obvious reasons. And Jack Perry was the easiest target Punk can do, and it worked because guess what? Punk was fired, and then he was able to debut at the Survivor Series, which he teased. when he went his first time back doing an MMA thing. Oh, I got 2 months to hang out with you guys. 2 months, almost exactly to the day of the Survivor Series. Everybody involved in this controversy, everyone who had a major part, has been terrible as human beings or terrible as people, terrible as professionals. Everybody, Punk, Khan, and the Bucks, all disasters. But who's winning right now? The guy with the big contract on the bigger platform who has his name being chanted on your television show, or you guys, where every unbiased wrestling journalist, if they are any, every one of them is saying this was a terrible backfire and an embarrassing moment for your company. Tony, go get Scott D'Amore and have him be your right-hand man. He can, and your mentor. He can show you how to fucking run a wrestling company. Because Christ's sake, you certainly don't know how to. Thank you so much for watching Moment in the Valley, brought to you by High Spots and Cheap Pops. Hit the subscribe button, like us on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, and we will see you next time. Here endeth the lesson. And hit the subscribe button, would you?